I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Esther.
And we're the counseling interns. We're with the behaviors team. You might have seen us here a few weeks ago. And today we're going to be talking about special occasions. It's the week of Thanksgiving. We have some more holidays coming up in December, so hopefully this is a topic that's been on your mind, and we should be able to give you some ideas about how to handle all of it. So, let's see. All right. So first thing you want to do is to plan. How many people are surprised that that's what we're asking you to do? So remember that failing to plan is planning to fail. So you want to ask yourself some questions before you go somewhere. Whether this is you're hosting Thanksgiving at your house, you're going to a family member's, or maybe just a holiday party, something in the community. So before you go, think about what are the foods that are likely to be served. Thanksgiving, you're probably going to have some turkey, have some vegetables, have some desserts. What other foods are you guys anticipating having served, this week if we're talking about Thanksgiving? I guess I kind of covered it with turkey and vegetables. I know a lot of people have talked about sweet potato casserole, or we have a few people typing. All right, give me some more ideas. What are you expecting to encounter? Stuffing, desserts, yes, pies. Yep. So there's a lot of food. So it's good to be thinking about these things so that you're not surprised when you show up and there's no green beans. I was planning on having green beans. So then also thinking about what are the most difficult food items for you to deal with. So what are going to be the most challenging for you. So it sounds like we might have gotten some ideas of stuffing, desserts, pies. Does anyone have any other foods that they're thinking might be difficult for them this season? Salad dressing. Yeah. We have a few more people typing. Appetizers. Oh, you missed the question. What are some foods that you're anticipating might be served, what you're doing for Thanksgiving or the holidays, that are going to be the most difficult for you to deal with? Okay. I don't see anyone typing. There we have sweets. Yes. Okay. So some other questions you might want to ask yourself when you're planning for a special occasion is, what are the social expectations? Who am I going to be with? Is it just my immediate family? Do they know about the thing that I'm trying to eat healthier? Or is it extended family that have different expectations of you? Or is it a Friendsgiving and you have people that have completely different expectations? So trying to think about that, is it going to be a 5-course meal, or is it going to be like potluck style or buffet, or are we going to be watching football while we eat?
Well, welcome to
welcome.
in person.
And then also thinking about what are some non-food activities that might be available. So are you going to go and play touch football out in the yard, or are you going to have a Scrabble tournament? What are some other things that maybe you can be doing so that you're not thinking about the food the whole time? And then who's going to support you in the decisions that you make? Do you have a significant other or a sibling or a friend that is going to be supportive of you? So these are all things that you want to be thinking about before you even have your special occasion. So we have somebody typing. I guess not. Okay. So the next thing you want to be thinking about is expectations. What are your expectations for the day? What are your expectations for yourself? You want to make sure that you're setting, let's see, I still expect discomfort eating between meals when others are not eating. Okay, so sticking to your timing throughout the day, and maybe that's a social expectation. We're not eating yet, why are you? And, having a rationale for that, and, letting others know that it's really important to you to be sticking to your timing throughout the day. And I think that goes along with setting realistic goals for yourself. So, these are probably going to be different from the goals that you have for everyday eating, but still having that, those expectations that you're going to maintain your timing, that you're still going to get your water in. But then also giving yourself some flexibility to have off-plan choices, and balancing those with other healthy choices. So, not saying, pumpkin pie isn't in my plan, but, it's a special occasion and I'm going to allow myself one slice, and that's going to be my off-plan choice for the meal. And the rest of my choices are going to be, protein and vegetables. And on that note, spending your calories wisely. So if you don't really enjoy pumpkin pie, then maybe not choosing to spend your calories on that. So choosing something that is special, that you're really going to enjoy, and not just spending it on chips, or unless chips is your choice, but being intentional about your off-plan choices. And avoid the trap of vowing never to eat. So why is that a trap? It's not likely to happen. Maybe a few more people typing. Then you are famished. Yes. I suppose maybe you could make yourself more hungry if you say, I'm not going to eat. Yeah, so you're kind of setting yourself up for that physical hunger if you're just not eating the whole day, or just not eating at the event. And also, it's kind of that restriction, right? Like, I'm not going to eat anything here, but that's really hard to do. And, you might set yourself up for failure, and then it's like, oh well, I did eat a cookie, so now I might as well eat 10. So going back to that planning aspect, and planning for off-plan choices. If that makes sense. Okay, so we have some different tips or suggestions depending on if you are going to be a guest or the host. How many people are planning on hosting Thanksgiving, or hosting throughout the holiday season? No, not me. Okay. So most people are planning on being guests, is what I'm getting. Okay. All right, so when you're a guest, number one, don't arrive hungry. Making sure that you're sticking to your timing throughout the day. We don't want to save up, calories for later. That can lead to overeating. Make sure that you're fueling your body throughout the day. The role of alcohol. So alcohol is extra calories, and it also can lower your inhibitions, right? So, if you're drinking, you might be more likely to eat off plan without realizing it, or kind of rationalizing those choices. Thinking about where you stand in the room, so maybe not standing near the table with all the food. So maybe finding another place in the room that you can be talking, socializing, or doing some of those non-food related activities. You can also bring a healthy item that you enjoy. So let's see, a good point. I'm bringing my lunch Optifast shake so I don't get hungry while waiting for dinner to finish towards the evening. Yeah.
Great.
Yep, so bringing food that you know that that's on your plan that will satisfy you. You can also make sure that you're using a plate, so you want to be able to see that it's portioned. And staying hydrated throughout the day, right? Sometimes it's easy to mistake thirst for hunger. And then being mindful, so savoring those choices, being intentional about what you're eating. So if you are hosting, we do have a couple of suggestions. You can actually get a lot of options catered, so if it's going to be challenging for you to be cooking food that isn't on your plan, you can kind of eliminate that and get some catering options, or have a potluck with a healthy theme, so challenge your family and friends to create the healthiest side dish or dessert. You can also change rooms between dessert and coffee. So if you're sitting at the table to eat dessert, you can have everyone get up and move into the living room to have coffee, so you can put away all the desserts and you're not sitting there staring at the leftovers. You can also send all sorts of leftovers home with your guests. And if you are keeping leftovers, you can put them in opaque containers so that when they're in your freezer or in your fridge, it's less of a visual cue. So you have to go in there knowing what you're looking for. If you don't have containers that are dark colored, you can also wrap tinfoil around them, and that just makes it harder to see what's inside. And then also having some non-food traditions. Does anyone have any non-food traditions that they'd like to share? Doing the turkey strut. Going out to see the lights at Tanglewood. Watch parades and football. Yeah. Like to walk on the greenway after dinner.
Great.
Yeah.
Some exercise.
Yeah, so going for an evening stroll after dinner or before dinner, or going out and watching parades and football and going to see the light. Yeah, I like them. Thank you for sharing. All right, so the holidays can be a stressful time for everyone. So make sure that you're setting aside time for yourself to de-stress. So keep an eye out. We're going to be announcing in a couple weeks self-care bingo. But in the meantime, thinking of some things that you like to do that you can, if you have stressful family, maybe getting out and going for a walk by yourself for a few minutes to have a few moments to yourself, or journaling, or I don't know, does anyone have any self-care tips for the holidays that they use? Whenever I feel like I have to nibble, I make myself wait 10 minutes. Okay, yeah, that sounds like mindfulness eating, right? So, checking in with myself, how am I feeling, and if I am hungry, making a delayed gratification a little bit.
What can also help with that is, I don't know if you guys have seen our pleasant activities list, the 100 things to do besides eat, in those 10 minutes. Make sure you do an activity that you really enjoy, and then see afterwards, are you still hungry?
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have that list, then get it at your next visit.
So also, this may be the first holiday season that you're around family members that maybe aren't aware that you're making healthier choices. So being assertive and asking for what you need. So asking friends and family to avoid offering you tempting treats. If someone always makes a certain pie, especially for you, and you're the only one that's going to eat it, maybe asking them not to do that this year. And discuss the kinds of support that you need and give clear examples of that. So, it would really be helpful to me if, you didn't make this pie this year. I'm not planning on eating it. You also want to make sure that you're working through setbacks. So there's Thanksgiving this week. You might have a lot of holiday parties, the holidays themselves. So remembering that, if you make choices that you're not happy with afterwards, that you can learn from what happened. Maybe you didn't realize what was in foods, or I ate a lot of salt and I didn't realize it, and I was feeling really bloated the next day. And so learning from those experiences and planning for the next occasion. And also setting up non-food rewards for yourself. So that could be during a special occasion, or throughout the week, or just anytime. Does anyone have any examples of some non-food rewards that they use? So how do you reward yourself for, exercising or staying on plan that doesn't have to do with food? So someone says new clothes.
Well, lucky Black Friday is right after Thanksgiving, right?
Browsing and shopping online. Mm-hmm. Yeah. A manicure and a pedicure. Mm-hmm. Yep. "30 minutes to an hour of video games." Yeah, so you guys have some good ideas. And these can also be, de-stressing too, so kind of setting these up for yourself to keep your stress down and to also reward yourself.
All right. So the next two slides will be a little bit more on the nutritional side, because I know that's a lot of the struggle around Thanksgiving as well. And while we're not nutritionists, these slides have been cleared with our nutritionists, and they've endorsed them. So yeah. So just a couple of tips for the main and side dishes. Are any of y'all gonna be, I know a lot of you aren't hosting, you're more visiting, but are any of you involved in the cooking process at all? Yes. Not really? No. Okay, so some people are, and some people aren't. So the next two slides might be more for people who are involved in the cooking process. So firstly, I know in the Optifast weekly newsletter, Yvette has been giving some really nice recipe suggestions. So if you haven't looked at them, check them out, and they might have some great ideas. I'm not entirely sure if there's recipes on the Essentials newsletter, but maybe look, and I think there might be.
And also on the Facebook group.
Yeah. So another tip is to add seasoning and switch heavy sauces for low calorie options, so maybe lighter sauces. Also, sour cream is heavy in calories, and low-fat Greek yogurt has actually more protein than regular yogurt, so that might be a good source of protein, and also it's similar enough to sour cream, and usually it doesn't affect the taste. You could pair a favorite family entree with light side dishes, so having some food item that you really enjoy and making sure you combine it with healthier choices. Also, I know mashed potatoes are a favorite during the holiday season, so just using 1% fat milk or defatted chicken broth with that can reduce the calories in your mashed potatoes, and again, it shouldn't affect the taste that much. I know the vegetables can sometimes be covered in cream and sauces and all sorts of stuff. Instead, try and go for a colorful blend of vegetables steamed in chicken broth, or if you like butter sauce, maybe try butter flavored sprinkles instead for a lower calorie option. Yes, skinnytaste.com. Yeah, and I have some more recipe sources on the next slide, but skinnytaste.com is a great source. Yeah, and the salad. Yeah. So again, salad dressing can be. I know some of you mentioned salad dressing earlier. So again, watching the amount of dressing that you put on, or maybe going for a lighter option. I see someone still typing, so I'm gonna wait for a little bit. And also, if you all have any other suggestions, should barely coat the salad or use less than one serving. Great, thank you for sharing that. Okay, I'm gonna move on to desserts. So sugar and spice, healthy but nice. This is Chanel's little creative idea for this title of the slide. So is it a good idea to bake? It really depends on where you are in the program and how much you trust yourself with that. So if you're fairly new to the program and don't have that much experience yet, then maybe it might be a struggle. Or if you say you've had good previous success, you've been doing this for a while, and you have good coping skills in place, then maybe it is a good idea to try and bake something that's also healthy. What do y'all think about baking? Are you going to? Do you think it's a good idea? Why not? Or you just don't feel like it? Or again, keeping those things in mind. Okay, so someone says, I don't bake, but I love to bake goodies. I am the same. No, but I do intend to make fruit salad instead. Yes, so fruit can be, I think that's one of the things in these, fresh fruit as toppings, but also fruit salad that's a great dessert, yeah. Moravian recipes, yes. Okay. I see any suggestions on sugar substitutes, so I don't want to go too far beyond what I have in these slides yet because we're not nutritionists. However, we do have some tips on this. So if you are baking, if you decide it's a good idea and I can handle this and I've done this before maybe, then one idea is to, especially with pies, skip the crust because that has a lot of calories, and serve it as a mousse instead. For toppings, the frosting can be lethal. So again, fresh fruit, as already mentioned here, whether that's a fruit salad is even, that's a great idea, but even just as a topping, you can have fresh fruit or a sprinkle or fruit sauce. So again, keeping fruit in mind as desserts, and even for some of you who aren't making desserts, maybe a fruit salad could be an option. So yeah, in terms of sugar substitutes, so one thing that I do have on here is you can reduce it, and it usually doesn't affect the quality of the final product if you reduce the fat or the sugar. However, if you are afraid of that okay, am I cutting too much sugar and is it just not going to taste good now and everyone will hate it, then here are some. So in addition to skinnytaste.com, which someone mentioned earlier, there's emilybites.com and drizzlemeskinny.com, and those are two really great blogs for some comfort foods that are low in calories as well. And the last thing I would say is the eggnog is really high in calories, and so trying to look for alternatives, and sometimes even the low-calorie eggnog. Look how many calories are actually in there, because sometimes they're not that low in calories. So yeah. Anything else on dessert that you guys want to contribute before we move on? I don't see anyone typing right now, but yes, I do see someone typing. Any worries about desserts? Any other thoughts? Any suggestions? Okay, I see two people are typing, so I'm going to give it a minute. Sometimes it also tells me that people are typing when really they are not. So, okay. I know that I will have to take salad dressing with me, so again, salad dressing seems to be a theme here. Yes. Yes. So again, adjusting your plans. So that's a great point. Your plans for Thanksgiving, for the holidays, don't have to be the same as your plans for a regular day, right? And I think Kelsey talked about that a little bit earlier. To adjust your plans and give yourself some freedom and some flexibility. And how much you give yourself is really up to you. But yeah, and not to expect perfection. Plan beforehand, but if you do find yourself going off plan a little bit, being kind to yourself and remembering that there's a lot of triggers right there, and it's really hard. And I mean, not being, I would say it's completely normal to not be 100% on what you have planned, but maybe going a little bit off plan for one items, and just to realize that that's probably something that happens to most people. Yeah, so thank you for that comment. So that kind of leads us nicely into our next slide, which is and I'm going to ask you guys this first, is how are you going to make sure that you're still going to enjoy the celebration? Because I know we talked about a lot of rules that you can put in place in order to limit your calorie intake. But of course, it's a family holiday, and we do want you to enjoy yourselves at the end of the day. So how do you make sure this doesn't turn into kind of an unenjoyable event. Yeah. Okay. So I see watch portion sizes and feel comfortable with your choices. Yeah. Very good. So don't rush and shovel food, portion it all. So that relates really nicely to the last point on the slide. So I'm gonna jump ahead to that, since that's been brought up by you guys, and it kind of goes back to this whole idea of mindful eating. So I really like the quote, and I know I said that on here before, so I'm repeating myself a little bit, but the whole idea that if we eating a lot of food doesn't mean we enjoy food too much. It means we don't enjoy it enough. Because again, shoveling it, you're not really enjoying anything. So really trying to savor the foods that you do choose to eat in a really mindful way, and then the portion control part can prevent some of the guilt or discomfort afterwards if you know that if you plan out beforehand how much you're going to have, and you're going to really with that item, there should be no guilt involved. It should be 100% enjoyable, because that's the choice you made, and you don't want to spend your calories feeling guilty about them, right? So really being intentional about what you eat, and making sure you really enjoy those items. There's also this idea about Thanksgiving is all about eating as much as you possibly can, or at least that's one thing that I've, some of the messages I've gotten over the years, and maybe reframing that of, instead of eating as much as you possibly can and feeling really sick to your stomach afterwards, maybe it's about really enjoying the food that you do have, and feeling good afterwards rather than sick to your stomach. So reframing that mindset a little bit. Also planning ahead, and I know Kelsey talked about that a little earlier, really helps you not having to think so much on the day. Am I going to eat this? Am I not going to eat that? Because that can put a lot of stress on you when you're trying to really enjoy the celebration. And then again, and I know someone mentioned that earlier, having a realistic and positive attitude about your eating habits, so adjusting your plan. Do realize that it's a holiday, and that maybe it's not realistic to stick to your usual plan 100%, and maybe there is a different plan for the holidays. Maybe the plan is not to lose but to maintain, and you can talk about that in your appointments of how the holidays might mean that you could adjust your plan for those times, and that will help you to just relax and enjoy. And also then Kelsey talked a little bit about the non-food related parts of the holidays. So I know you all mentioned the parades and going for walks, the turkey, what was it, the turkey strut? Turkey strut, yeah. And it's a family celebration, right? So enjoy the company of the people around you, enjoy activities with them, and just enjoy their company. And food really maybe shouldn't be the center of attention, but the center of attention should maybe be the people around us and the things we do, and being all together and enjoying the day. So yeah, do make sure you enjoy the day and don't make it all about the food if you can. And I think that's all I have. Are there any last thoughts? Any thoughts on this slide? Any thoughts overall? Any concerns that you have? The Turkey Strut is a 5K and a 1 mile fun run. Wow, so that's really active.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you can review the video. Will be on our private YouTube channel. So if you go into your newsletter, if you scroll down, there should be a green chalkboard, and you should be able to see this video probably by tomorrow.
Okay. Off-topic question. Oh, yes, that would be my fault. Yes, I lived in Ireland for a long time, so the U slipped in there. Thank you. Okay, any other questions, concerns, or comments, tips before we end? And I see there's one person typing, so I'm going to wait for that. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being so interactive as well. We've really enjoyed your contributions, and there's been some really great comments and advice. And yeah, I really do hope you enjoy Thanksgiving. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and end the meeting. Don't forget to fill out the survey so that you can get your purple point. And we'll just let the last couple.
Happy
Thanksgiving. All right, take care, everybody.
All right. Bye.